But yeah, that's how I found out vagina dentata was real. It sucks not having the front part of my left foot anymore, but that's the way stuff goes. I just kind of wish it had happened closer to Halloween, because then it would probably made more sense. Would it be a funnier story to tell? So, are we starting this?
What's up, everybody? It's that anime show. I am Terri Doty with
J. Michael Tatum.
Oh, and
this is Josh Grelle.
Yeah, that's Josh Grelle.
I was wondering about your foot, but now I wish I hadn't asked.
That's what happens.
That's what happens when you set levels.
I think it would be great if you could lower your expectations down a notch. Just
I didn't think
maybe 20%.
I didn't think they could go any lower. I'm kidding. We love you. We love you.
Love you guys.
You're back, and this is kind of a thing, right?
Yeah,
because you were our first ever guest, and now,
awesome to be back.
As of today, we've hit the 9-month mark.
We're having a baby.
Yeah, makes us sound like we're gonna have a spin-off show.
I know, right?
We'll do She's the Sheriff.
And it'll be called The Anime.
The Anime.
The Anime.
Oh man. To be young again.
Yay. This show's growing up so fast.
Yeah. Well, like, this is nothing.
It was just a fetus that was being, that was festering in the crap hole that was the broadcasting. But
Riparium Radio.
Is it slander? I mean, does it matter if we're on the podcast?
No, because we're not saying its name.
Oh.
So
you just did it!
Oh my god, now
okay.
We did. No one had to know that was the actual name.
We'll beep it. We'll beep it.
We'll beep it.
So if you're listening to it, you already heard the beep. Okay.
Yeah,
it was
a good beep,
the radio station's name was Vagina Dentata.
This is true. And that's how we found that it was real.
Yeah.
9 months without a foot.
9 months without a foot, and your toes still haven't grown back.
Really? It's been, we've done a lot. Since the first show, especially together, we've done two more animes together.
Yeah, 2 more.
Yeah, so
2 more. We finished. Well, we did the last touches on the other one after we had done the first show. We had done the final touches on Shikabane.
Oh, that's right. It
was finishing up
the commentary tracks.
We didn't do the commentaries till February.
That's true.
So, yeah.
That's true.
So it's been 3 shows this year since the first. Since the first
anime
show.
It was such a load off when we were able to actually refer to Shikabane Hime by name on this show.
I know, but now I've gotten trained in the same Corpse Princess now.
Yes,
I'm
Corpse Princess.
Shikabane Hime.
Shikabane Hime.
I like both
Shikabane Hime.
Shikabane Hime.
Yeah, but you've been getting some good feedback.
I've been getting some amazing feedback for Akasha. Oh, I love Akasha.
Well, you should. Your
I'm
Akasha is
so proud
fucking
of that
amazing.
role.
My favorite character to write dialogue for.
Yeah.
Although, I liked a couple of cheeky lines of Casey said it was just like, "You think I got this strong by being a vegetarian?" I'm like, "It's a jab at me." Yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, no, you were excellent, and you and Brina and Carrie Savage together, as Hibiki.
I know, it's like Carrie came in for the briefest of things and rocked that role so hard as to just be like, God,
episode 24,
making me cry here. I loved it. Loved it. And Brina, Hokuto. Hokuto. I love Hokuto.
It was great because when we went back to do I chose that particular episode, the one with that Carrie appears in, and we see a lot of Akasha's backstory for the commentary track that I was going to do, and I was like, I want to do that one. That was my favorite episode.
Yes,
it's one of my favorite episodes, and I freaking love it. And Josh is so good, but it had been so long since we had done it. When we came in to do the commentary track, that I'd forgotten how good it really was. I mean, I remembered it being good, but I'd lost the sense memory, if you like, of how good it was. And when we sat there and watched it, it was all I could do to get through that commentary, because I was just like, shut up, I'm watching this. You guys, stop it!
That's how it was with 12,
because I loved that commentary.
Well, when Bevins came to me and Tatum, I think he approached me first, and I think he just made me relay the info to Tatum. I was like, we have to kind of mirror each other. I don't know where we came up with that, but we immediately decided we wanted to mirror that. So it's funny that I did 12, he did 24, which I like the evenness of that, and then I I had, I guess, the heroes and he had the villains, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I tell you what, I grin still to this day because not only having to suffer through the waiting for the show to be released, like I watched the first 4 episodes when Funimation put them up on their channel, and it was
awesome.
Just,
Bruce did a great job.
I was like, it sounded great. And 4th episode, at the very end of it, there's me in a phone booth, and for all of a line, and I'm like, well, stuff to come. I want to see what happens though, because I was waiting for episode 5. But they didn't put it up, so we're waiting, and then
they're good teasers about the
yeah,
dubs.
good teasers about those. That was great. And then we go to A-Fest, and it was in the dealer's room.
Yeah,
and it was like
you almost bought it. No, me and Tatum. I think I mentioned that during the One Piece podcast interview. Me and Tatum, I found it, and then I found Tatum, and he was like, "Oh, hey!" And I grabbed his arm and started running. We're like, "Okay, I guess I'm going over here."
I was like, "Hi."
And so we were just like, "Oh my god!" And he was like, "Oh my god!" And this one of the kids helping out was like, "You guys want to buy it?" I'm like, no, we hadn't gotten our copies yet.
Yeah, we're like, no, we'll wait.
And it's like, I don't want to give you, I don't want you guys to come back and it be sold out. I'm like, I would love that.
Like, we would love for
I would love for it to be sold out. Absolutely. So I was like, I'm going to wait. And then thankfully the next day, like literally 2 days later after the con, I got my copy.
No, because you had been bugging Trenton, who's kind of helps us get our DVDs of stuff we worked on. And oh my god!
My phone is totally
forget to turn something off?
My phone off.
Tatum.
Can I answer it? I think it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Hello? Hey, what's up, man?
Who is
I'm just in the middle of recording our podcast. You're on the air now.
Hello!
Well, you're not live, but this will be on later.
Who is it?
Hello, it's Mike Timmons.
What up?
I'm Mike.
Hey, what are you guys up to?
So, Josh.
Wait, let me call you back later. All right, take it easy. Bye.
Silence your phone.
How unprofessional.
So I totally thought my phone was on airplane mode. I was clearly wrong. Mike says hi, everybody.
Hi.
Mike Timmons is a
my
great
good
guy.
friend Mike Timmons, a good
Talented
friend.
dude.
Very talented. He's a welder by trade, but he does these great, really fantastic.
He has a fan page. Actually, if you want to see some of his stuff, he's got a fan page on Facebook.
Yes.
Look
Check out Mike Timmons' Facebook page for those of you that are really into, especially steampunk type of
You
stuff.
can look. I believe it might be on my page, or there might be a link on my profile or Tatum's on
If
it.
not, we shall have to put one up.
Hell yeah.
I'll post it on that
I've
anime
got
show.
2 really awesome sculptures of his in my house.
God, they're
one
gorgeous.
that he gave me as as a gift, and the other one I was like, okay, if this one is too good, it needs a companion piece to go over the couch.
Seriously?
Make another one, and they're really really awesome.
He made your sonic screwdriver too, didn't he?
that was for
made
Joshua.
that was for Joshua. He made him a little.
That is a
little
weapon.
sonic screwdriver.
That is a weapon. That thing is heavy.
But no, that took some time. He fucking studied up.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
and he's working on some projects right now just to do it. He's making this one, not little at all. It's he's making some kind of creature. That I've seen bits and pieces of, and it looks really badass. I'm looking forward to what he does
He
with
approached
it.
me
That's
about
awesome.
me doing a film companion thing for one of the starting from start to finish a piece. He
That's
wants
a
me to
great
do
idea.
that.
That's a great
but
idea.
he's I don't have time. I'm like, I don't either, so that works out very well. But yes, we should.
What a serendipitous little phone call.
It works.
No, I love the man. He's one of my best and dearest friends.
He was really cool.
Yeah, he's
I liked
really cool.
It was cool meeting him.
They may want to hang out with us tonight. So
Hell yeah.
Remind me to call him later.
I actually, I met him the week before I got married, and because Steven was going out on his thing, and we wanted to see Joel's play, so I kind of tagged along with you, and then it's just hi, I'm Terry. It's what's up, I'm Mike. Hey, you want to look at this thing that I built in the backyard? I'm yeah! Friends.
I will forever remember the day that I met Mike because it was the night that my iPhone broke.
Yes. Yeah,
But you got a better one.
You're
You
like,
got-
oh yeah, I got $10.
I know you told that story. I got $10.
That's exactly how
you have
loud.
to tell that story. Somebody tell that story.
We told it.
Yeah, I told
Have we
it.
told it? Have we told it?
We told
I'll
it
take
about
it on a
tell it.
podcast.
Yeah, we did. I think.
Okay.
I think Brian's.
Yeah, for
Brian's
Brian's show.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, no, that was
Yeah,
as
that-
loud as you said it too.
Yeah.
Right there, like woohoo!
I got $10.
Like, she's right behind you. She just heard you. Oh.
Oh, I heard her jingle away. And it's like, and watched. But she was gone.
Oh my god.
Money in straps. So.
Well, you know what? Like we've, I think,
no pockets.
I mean,
Yeah, I know. But the fact that they were okay. And,
go ahead, go on
I
this
didn't want to
tangent.
be like a purist or anything, but the fact that she was doing this absolutely beautiful
Belly down.
She
belly
was
dancing.
quite
Yeah,
good.
she was incredibly good.
And very attractive.
Yeah,
as
very
well.
attractive,
I'm like,
too.
thank God.
The fact that she was doing this, and all of a sudden patrons started putting money, and it was like you just destroyed what was art to begin with.
You just
And
put
you-
ketchup on that steak.
You did. That I'm using that. That's the thing that you just put ketchup on that steak. Son of a bitch. But,
You just pissed on the lily.
yeah. Anyway.
I think it's dangerous
That was
how
just a funny moment.
how close Greeley and I have gotten, because the show that we just finished like last week. I know. Like
I
on
love-
average for
I
a
love-
contract, like
that show.
the first contract that we did was episodes 1 through 6, and that alone, Josh had almost 50 hours, and then we did the
I
other
think it
half
ended up
of
being,
it.
like
yeah.
62 for the first contract, and then
Yeah.
40 to 50 for this last
Yeah,
contract we
so
just did.
it's a good thing I liked you.
Yeah.
This is-
I wouldn't complain. I got to
Oh.
hang with Terry and be crazy.
yeah, we did. We have a lot of stories. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A lot of
Love this-
bombs, too.
yeah. Yes.
And
Well, you
I've
got
seen-
to. We got to work. a
I
little
got
bit,
to
too.
see bits of the show while it was being recorded, and it is hilarious.
Yeah.
And very, very good. I was very impressed. I get more I really can't say, I suppose, but I will say your performance, of course, was outstanding.
That is the news show
And I was
that cannot be
anticipated
named.
to be. But there was another actor's performance in particular that I was very fond of getting to see. And I can't wait to be able to talk about that particular actor's performance.
Yeah, you know who we're talking about.
But
yeah.
but I'm sorry, you were going to say
I was going to say, speaking of outstanding and hilarious, I finally, because I haven't got my copy yet because they're just selling out so quickly, I decided and was lucky, and with the Fry's Electronics not far from the studio, I got my copy of Italia. I went and bought it, and dude, you rock.
Oh.
Dude, oh my god, France is amazing.
I saw that 10-minute challenge, like with your little.
They did the same thing. They did the same thing with the It was really that I get asked to do that laugh everywhere I go
Of
now at a
course.
convention. So
Are
I'm
you
like, "Can
tired
do-
of
can
it
you do
yet?"
this?" No, I don't think I'll ever be tired of it.
Yeah.
I hope we never do a convention in France.
I'll tell you
That
what.
will be awkward. They're like, do
think
the
the-
laugh, do the laugh, do the laugh. Go ahead, let us hear it. Do the laugh. Stupid American.
That is not the laugh.
That is not how we laugh.
How dare you?
We had a lot of fun on Italia. It's
It's
so
such a fun
You
show.
were
It's so
Lithuania?
Yeah, I play Lithuania.
Lithuania.
I love Lithuania.
It's really
Liet.
funny.
I love Liet.
That was
He's
that was a great premiere that we did in Baltimore.
Yeah, I heard. I saw. I watched the
really-
panel coverage.
Let me
Yeah,
tell
I
you,
watched
that
a
was
little bit of
that
that
was a
too.
crazy. Like it got interrupted by a fire drill.
I heard about that.
And not really interrupted. It was just starting, and the fire alarm went off, and this huge convention
That's
hall
an
with like
interruption.
30,000 some odd kids had to be evacuated into the streets of Baltimore. Which was
Okay, you're right.
rather
That's not
like
an interruption. That's an emergency condition.
Yeah, it was rather
They're all
like
these
it was rather
kids
like a
in these
disaster
anime
movie at first,
costumes.
but the convention held it splendidly. There was no one was hurt, no one
Anime
was
block party.
You know, it was just crazy. And then about an hour or two later, once everything had calmed down and they'd done make sure everything was okay in the building, they let everyone back in, and everyone took their seats, and we resumed like nothing had happened. It was great. There was no drama, despite the fire drill, which was normally like, oh, yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
You know, but it was great. It was like these kids had already been waiting for like 3 hours, and they had to wait another 2 because of the fire drill.
I tell you what,
and they still came back. We're awesome, behaved themselves, and they loved it, and it's so much fun to see the kids, not I say kids like I'm an old man, but the fans. It's so much fun to be there with them live when they're getting to watch it for the first time, and you're getting to watch it for the first time, mixed and completed. Yeah. It's so much fun.
It's awesome
when they respond to it, and that was a great premiere.
Some amazingly positive responses.
I'm so glad. I am so glad.
It's a fun show.
I still haven't watched it.
It deserves a good audience.
The show that we're only referring to as that show, that is the new show that will not be named.
We can't talk about.
But also, Rideback was announced.
Woohoo! Rideback!
Yes.
I love my character in that.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. He's a fun character.
Everyone, that's
I love it because I was able to give you chills again in that show.
Well, it was because we'll go back to Corpse Princess. Corpse Princess. I've said it a couple of times, but I was very lucky that Eric asked me to start writing on that show.
Yeah.
I've only written 2 shows, that and Initial D, which I'm just like, okay, before I do this, can I just live in AutoZone for like 2 months? But, sorry.
Actually, can I live in AutoZone back in 85 for about 2 months?
But
you go back and watch License to Drive.
Oh my god, that's one of my favorite movies growing up. I don't know why now, but
it's a fun movie.
No, I wrote 24, and so to hear you say, particularly like the backstory stuff with you and Carrie, and
I love that episode.
Casey's like, you don't want to do this, you have no idea. And
speaking of that episode, there was a direction that I still think is one of the things that just makes that episode, that especially when it goes into the whole monologue of his backstory, even more it's just pulling at your heartstrings. And that was when you told me that when he starts really telling it, when it actually shows the flashback to drop
the voice,
kind of drop the voice,
the bravado that he had until then,
move out of the anger, of that,
and make him a little more innocent,
and make it more innocent, and go into that mode, and then to once, just as it hit she can make it into heaven, to go back into it was just, it gives me chills, dude.
Well, we did that a lot. We did that. Okay, it's a subtle thing that we did. I mean, no one really told us how to do that, but like for flashbacks, you'll notice for flashbacks, specifically with Casey's a lot higher. And then when it cuts to him with his glasses on and being Ori's brother, he's a lot lower. And then he gets even clearly lowest he ever is in episode 12.
I cringed because I marathoned it when I got there. I cringed. I was like 2 a.m. when I finally got to the episode where you and me fight just before your big deal and your whole you're well within when you're moving into attack me and that final blow that sends me flying a good mile and a half. Your scream, I was like, I cringed. And she was like,
my God.
Don't be mad at me, Tatum. But
everyone's so
tell you what, and the first episode, when I finally got the copy and watched it, episode 5, when he comes in, episode 5 and 6 were a bitch to record, and I got so happy how good it sounded.
We'll say now, you were recording the 2nd season of Kenichi and Line Barrels at the same time that you were doing that. And I think I actually, like, the next day, like, the first time recording, because you're like, let's do this. I went, no, your voice is gone.
Yeah.
So we sent you home, and then we came back on a Sunday and did it. But the next day I saw Caitlin, I'm like, screw you.
You're making my actor lose his voice. He's screaming.
Koichi Hayase can suck it.
Line Barrel season 2 just came out too.
Finally!
Finally! Oh my god!
We have so much to talk about. And that's 2. But I finally finished that, even the
I
OVAs.
should talk very briefly about New York last weekend.
You should.
Because I got to go to New York for the first time in my life ever.
That was your first time in New York?
Never set foot in New York.
Oh my God.
I'm ashamed to admit it. I'm 34 years old and have never been to the Big Apple.
I love that city.
Sometimes it just takes a while. I haven't been there as an adult, so.
And it was really, now it was kind of a drive-by weekend because it was, everything happened. So we just
really
flew in Friday night and had to leave Sunday afternoon. So we really only got to be there for 2 days. And while my schedule wasn't packed, man, I have never seen, because it was an anime and a comic convention combined into one, it was so unbelievably packed that you could not. I mean, it took you 20 minutes just to shuffle 5 feet forward in this room, in these dealers' room. And there was a lot of really cool stuff. I saw very little of the con because I just did not have the stamina for that crowd.
Yeah.
To be in it, because I don't deal well with crowds. But we were there to promote Black Butler and to premiere the first couple of episodes.
Yeah.
And Ian Sinclair and I, Ian, who's
Ian Sinclair.
the show's director, also plays Baudroy. And
he's so awesome in that role.
God,
dude.
yes, he's awesome, and he's an awesome
Amazing director.
And for him, I mean, this is his first time as a director, an ADR director, working on a show this popular, and he's been really nervous about it, and he's never done a con before, so I kind of, we hung out a lot, and we did the premiere on Sunday, and man, it couldn't have gone better. It was awesome. Yeah. I mean, not only are we watching these first 2 episodes, since we've done them for the first time, and but you're in this room full of people that were all, many of them were in costume, and it was, and they were just was packed, and they responded. They fangirl squealed at all the right moments. And
Did you see the video that they had posted on the Funimation page?
Yes. And
I still haven't seen that.
Yeah, and then Ian and I just, we were having so much fun in that panel. Like, we did like a little waltz before. It was so ridiculous. But I mean, we had fun, and the response was great, and everyone responded really positively to it, which means a lot to us, because we love that freaking show like nobody's business. And so everything went well. New York, I have to go back and see more of it next time. I went to a couple of you can't go to a bad place to eat in New York.
No, you can't.
So we had pizza and
Did you go to Ray's?
I didn't go to Ray's.
Oh my God!
We went to some place called. We went to like this really cool just place you stand up and get your pizza on the street. It wasn't a vendor, but it was like just a shop front, and it was called Two Brothers Pizza.
Yeah, Two
For
Brothers.
like $1. A slice, these gigantic slices. Man, it was good.
Yeah.
Went there several
those
times.
are wedges, man. Those
You were
going
going
to
be like, no, it's called Papa John's.
It's called Domino's. No, but there were some surreal moments. We went to, the last time we were there, Ian and I and a bunch of the Funimation people and some of the other voice actors that were there, because there's a lot of New York voice actors. I got to actually do some recording in New York while I was there, which I'm very I can't say I'm allowed to talk about the show, but I can't say what I've done in it.
Okay,
but I got to record on Pokemon.
Holy crap!
While I was there, just luck of the draw.
Awesome.
I was there, and they were like, "Hey, while you're in town, you want to come in for a couple hours?" I was like, "Yes." And we went into, it was Tom Whalen, who's a really cool guy.
Awesome. I met him in Boston.
Yeah, I met him at I think OhioCon a couple of years ago, and then at Boston. And he's just a really neat guy, and got great hair too.
Yeah, dude, he was
man's
he was
hair.
one of the directors.
He's got like the best hair in the business. He really does. It's beautiful. But
he was one of the directors on my favorite show of all time.
What was that?
Slayers.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh God.
Slayers is my absolute favorite show.
But no, so we know each other, and he knew I was coming to town, and he was like, "Hey, you want to record a couple hours?" I was like, "I'd love to." And of course, he showed me this old studio. It's just like, because it's in New York. It's like in this building that's been used for like 90 years or something, and they actually used to do film processing there back in the day, and they recorded like Al Jolson there back in the day. It's really got a lot of really neat history to it, right? And then so we recorded it, and it was really fun, and were
you like dreading taking a single step that you might?
Oh, I was, of course. It's always weird going into a new studio for the first time, because it's you're like, oh, okay, what do I do? But it was Tom was so wonderful. And just relaxing to work with it. I had a blast. Those were really fun. That's 2 hours.
Awesome.
And then we skipped on over to like some place called the Film I think the Film Studio Cafe or something. I forget what it was called, but Jamie McGonigal was also New York based.
Yeah, Jamie.
Had arranged a
God, I
dinner
haven't seen him in
for
years.
all the voice actors that had been in town because we had very little chance to see each other, so we all got to hang out, and I got to hang out with Tom and Lisa Ortiz and McGonigal. Crispin Freeman was there again. Oh, I love Lisa.
I love Lisa. I haven't got to meet Lisa yet.
Oh, you haven't? Oh,
no, I want to so bad.
She's so awesome.
And it's because I'm afraid that I'll fanboy out because she was the voice of Lena Inverse in Slaves. She was the lady and stuff, yeah. But the coolest thing, some friends of mine that were at OhioCon last year because she was there. It was this year. OhioCon this year, she was there.
Yeah.
And they knew I couldn't be there. Yeah, that's where you met her. And they knew I couldn't be there. And so all of a sudden, after the weekend was over, I get this message on my Facebook that says, for Josh, you might want to check this video out. And they met Lisa and had her film a message for me. They told her about who I was, that I was a voice actor and stuff. And she filmed the message to me going, why aren't you here? And then it did it in the Lena voice and started to dragon slave me. And I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, she is really, she's
I did. I totally fanboyed out. And I was like, you know what? Because of this, it will be a lot easier to meet her because I'll be like, you know what? Yeah. Because that has happened now. So I'll be professional and she won't really know me because we haven't met face to face, so I have the advantage.
As long as you're not giving her this speech in her apartment, I think you'll be good.
Yeah.
Or at the window of her apartment.
Yes.
But
that man.
But I should
It's cold.
I should say, just as far as the personality of New York in general is concerned, which is Tom Whalen made this point while we were there. He's like, yeah, people in New York are actually really nice. We're dicks when we go somewhere else. I'm doing a really terrible New York accent, by the way, because Tom does not sound anything like this, but it's just some part of me wants to do this because it's ridiculous fun. But Tom's like, yeah, most of us are, most New Yorkers are only dicks when we leave, because we're not in New York anymore. And we're like, what do you mean like there ain't no 24-hour, convenience store? What do you mean I can't call a pizza? What do you mean? It's only 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, I get it now, I get it.
Yeah, well, no, anytime I'm in the North, I'm like, see, that's why, like, I guess here, people are just like, why do you, I'm like, stuff just needs to keep happening. Come on. And they're like, well, what would make you feel better if you went? I'm like, no, because it's just going to piss me off when I come back because it's going to be like, what do you mean you closed at 9? What the fuck?
Yeah. It's like the difference between going to like New York and then you get the worst city to go to afterwards, just not because it's not a beautiful city with a lot of great history and a lot of personality, but Santa Fe. You go to Santa Fe after something like New York. I mean, New York is a 24/7. Fuck, it's a 28/8 town. It's a 25/8 town.
It's great.
And you go to Santa Fe and then fucking roll up the sidewalks at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You're like, what do you mean? There's Starbucks closing. What do you mean? You think everyone's like, oh, I'm sorry, we gotta go home. Matlock's on. It's just the town just stops.
Specifically Matlock. I tell you what,
but New York was really funny. I have to say this, just to capture their personality. The moment I set foot in the hotel and checked in, the girl behind the counter was like, yeah, okay, so here you go. Here's the room, here's the key, here's the incidentals, da-da-da-da-da. And she actually did da-da-da-da-da. And then she handed me the little thing to sign. And she's like, go ahead, sign here. And I kind of grabbed the pen and I was like, here. And I pointed to the, where she'd indicated. She's like, yeah, where it says signature. and I kind of laughed and I was like, oh, I'm in New York now. She's like, you sure as hell are, sweetie.
That's
Enjoy
awesome.
your stay. And it was really fun. I'm like, oh, I'm here.
That's actually I love the energy because I can every time I've gone to New York, I can step out in the street and just walk a block and something will happen. And it's one of the most amazing. Like the first time I ever went, my dad, my little brother, and I, and a really good friend of mine from high school were walking around and we were trying to find this. Actually, no, it was my mom taking us there too. We were trying to find this themed restaurant that's underground, but is actually almost kind of a theme park in and of itself because you have two choices of how to get in the restaurant. You can either go in the fast way, or you can ride what is, because the entire thing is space themed.
Oh,
it's the Mars Cafe.
That's right. This is what you were telling me about that.
Yeah, the Mars Cafe is incredible.
I wish I'd remembered when we were there. I would have tried to track it down. I didn't even think about it. Oh, damn it.
It's an experience. But on the way there, we were going up Broadway. We're passing the Broadway theater, and this crowd of people was forming, and we were like, "Hey, what's going on here?" Some dude was like, "Oh, Hugh Jackman's about to come out the side. He just finished his show for the night," and we're like, "Holy shit!" And so we just kind of crowded around. All of a sudden, bam! Here comes for me, Wolverine, just coming out of the side of the building, and he's giving people high fives and stuff. And he gets in his car and drives off. And it was this 5-10 second encounter, just little moments, but it was just like that wouldn't have happened where I'm from. I wouldn't have just
course.
been walking down the street, and suddenly.
Well, no,
boom,
you wouldn't have been walking down the street because you can't.
Yeah, there's no street to walk.
You can't
down.
walk
Yeah,
anywhere.
that's true.
I think
Though
we
I did
had-
have kind of an experience like that last weekend down in Deep Ellum.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
I was walking. I was going to get my haircut. I was just on a whim. I was walking to get cat food and kitty litter from the 7-Eleven up the street because my cat ate food, and all of a sudden
That voice.
that voice.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. But both. Yeah, I know, right? But I got on a whim. I was like, I need to get my hair cut. And so I was like, I live in Deep Ellum. There's got to be a hair place down here. So I look it up in my iPhone, and bam, just down the street from 7-Eleven on the same block. I was like, hell yeah. So I started walking down there, and as I'm going, I pass by this thing, and there's a lot of equipment, and there's all these people out there, and police riot stuff, and all this other stuff. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Come to realize they're in costume. And two guys that are standing next to us, like these guys, these guys are dressed way too cheesy. They were filming an episode of Good Guys down there, and
they're Dallas-based.
and the car was right there, and I was talking to the two guys that were dressed up. They were the stunt doubles for the two leads.
Nice.
And so I was sitting there talking to them for a good 10, 15 minutes and got a picture of the car and stuff. And then I get my hair cut, and as I come out, it's kind of cleared. All the people are still there, but they're just kind of chilling. I was like, oh, they must be on lunch or something. And as I'm waiting at the corner to go, waiting at the corner of the street for the light to change so I can walk, all of a sudden, this dude comes right next to me, not paying attention to me at all, but he has his walkie-talkie, and he goes, okay, street's clear, go, go, go. And chaos ensues. I just kind of thrust myself up against the wall of this building because I don't want to get run over or anything. And I look across the street, and the stunt doubles are in the car in this vacant parking lot, and they had called because the traffic going down Elm Street had just completely stopped. And so they were filming the beginning of a chase scene, and those guys just peeled out into this donut in the middle of that vacant parking lot, and shot out into Elm Street and went down. And they were filming the whole thing. Saw the cameras pan away, and it's like, I just watched the beginning of a chase scene.
Oh, that was so cool.
Awesome. It was pretty cool. I was
That's
like,
badass.
and this happened about a 5-minute walk from my apartment. I am happy.
We've had a few fellow voice actors that are well in film and stuff. They've been in.
Good Guys. Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, I'm very excited to watch it. I haven't watched any of it, but I'm a fan of Colin Hanks, and I don't remember the name of the other guy, but he does excellent work. He was in West Wing, and
yeah. Mm-hmm.
but I remember him from like Nerds. So,
That's right.
but yeah, no, I mean, okay, getting back to Line Barrels.
Yes.
Line barrels of fire.
It only took more than a year for the second half to come out. Oh my goodness. And I'm just like, what? Because someone was telling me like mid-season it does this big shift. I'm like,
it does.
Well, I can't. I waited a year. Why not?
And it did.
Yeah, I know.
It did.
It is.
It did.
I can't decide whether I'm speaking in the past tense or the present tense, so I'm speaking in the fourth dimension. It is.
It did. That's what happened.
Oh.
That's what happens.
We should develop a fourth dimensional grammar. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Like the combines past and present tense.
And we'll use it.
It'll
at
be
the
fourth
con
dimensional
sometime.
past, future, perfect.
And we'll figure it out, and then we'll use it. And we'll use it on a panel. Just do nothing but talking in fourth dimension vocabulary for a panel someday.
Oh my god!
And the person that can actually follow along is the person that
Listens to
doctor.
the show.
Yeah, he's the doctor. Yeah,
The doctor.
This is how we're finding the doctor.
Aww.
We speak the doctor's language. Past, future, perfect.
Yeah. Either that or the TARDIS just translates it.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there you go. Well, we have a few questions. I'm sure there's
Some
more
good
being
questions. Good
said
questions, too.
in the chat room, which
Alright.
Stephen is moderating as always, or as always since the 4th episode. Yeah, can you believe it? This is what 23rd, 24th show. I can't believe it. I don't know. Yeah, and we'll also be at Yulcon next month. I'm very excited.
All of us will be.
Yes, the whole
Dude, seriously.
family.
The three of us, Tia Ballard's her first con, Alexis Tipton's her first con as a guest.
Yes.
Chris Ayers,
Greg.
Clarine, Bevins, Carly.
Dude, we're gonna be.
Dude.
Is going to be a veritable sushi boat of awesome.
Yes.
And our
I can get
second
behind that analogy.
our second weekend of live That Anime Showness, and this time we'll be in a room, so we'll try to cuss.
Yay.
I'm serious. I mean, try. Like, the second this door shuts, I'm like, all right, door shut. Fuck! Yeah. But let me see. I guess we can ask a couple of things. Let me see.
Bring them on. That's pug speak.
First question. It's all about Josh. Okay, let me see. This is from Alan McLeod.
Alan, cool.
Yes. He is a regular. I love it.
Yes.
Let me see. Hi, guys. So glad to be hearing from you again, although I just stopped laughing from the Massey episode, so I guess it counts for 2 weeks.
Oh, my God.
My question this week is for Josh, although the scenario of the question might not apply to Terri and Tatum. If you made up answers, I think it would be hilarious. Smiley face. Josh, you're a recent newcomer to Funimation.
Okay.
Let's see, as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, I guess I'm newer then, because you're an oldie but a goodie to me. Okay. That is to say, you worked mostly on ADV projects prior to the last few years or so. However, in the past year or so, Seraphim has began to release dubs again, and you've been back at the studio in Houston to record Ghost Hound, Halo Legends, etc. How does it feel to be back at the old stomping grounds?
Oh my God, that's an amazing question. That seriously is a
there's
a big ass question.
Alan
there's
the
more.
greatest
Or
question.
had you expected that? He's got a lot of questions here,
Okay.
so I'll ask them all at the same time, I guess. Had you expected that Neo ADV might begin dubbing again, and that you might, as much as an actor can expect, be back sometime in the future, or was it a pleasant surprise for you to hear that they were back up in business? Should we expect more Sentai dubs in the future?
Absolutely, I would say, to answer.
I didn't think they were actually gone.
To answer that
really?
last question first, yeah, no, I knew from the get-go, from the moment. Yes, I did, as I'm sure there's tons of anime fans in the community that had a day or months of mourning at the loss of ADV when they finally announced that they were gone. Because ADV not only was my first home as a voice actor, but they were the first and almost the only company growing up that I ever really bought shows from, because they were the ones that I identified with the most. They were the ones that were releasing some of the really cool. I mean, that's where I discovered Slayers, because they released the Slayer OVAs and a whole bunch of really good stuff. I mean, they were aside from Dragon Ball Z, because Funimation really hadn't started releasing when I really started getting into ADV stuff. Funimation hadn't truly started releasing a lot of their own shows by that point. I think the really first big show of theirs that I bought was Blue Gender and what's it called? Kitty Grade. Kitty Grade was one of the big ones that they released, and I was like, oh, this looks awesome. Yeah, Funimation, yeah. But ADV, I had every 2 weeks when I'd get my paycheck, I would drive from my little bitty town to Waco, Texas, into a crappy little Sam Goody and drop almost every dime that I'd made that week on ADV stuff. So yeah, I was absolutely horrified when they folded. Yeah. But I found out very quickly through friends down there that actually I was still living there at the time that they had closed, but I'd been working for Funimation for about a year at that point, and some issues came up with roommates that kind of forced me to have to move. But I knew from the get-go, after I'd heard the news that they had closed down, that most of the founding members and of the people that had been there since day one for ADV were still together and were coming together under a new name, and they've got all sorts of different. I mean, they're a consortium, if anything. Now, I mean, you've got Sentai Filmworks, you've got Happy Carrot Productions, you've got Switchblade Entertainment. All of which are kind of fall into the same category, under the same company, really the same banner, but I was incredibly happy and surprised at how quick Sentai came back and started doing some stuff, the first of which was Halo Legends, and that was incredible. Stories from that, definitely. But, oh, wow, to be able to go into a Walmart later on and just be like, not only, and just feel this great glow at the fact that not only did I record this at my home studio with, it was kind of this beautiful gift that had been given to the survivors of ADV that was like, and it's just like, you know what, you guys are awesome. Here, we'd like for you guys to work together with us on this. And just was this great thing for everybody to be able to get back to work on. I was like, oh, it's beautiful. And to be able to walk into a Walmart and see something that I was in, that me and a ton of my friends had worked on, that was being dubbed, that had been dubbed at my home studio, next to all these other, like it was right next to Hangover and something, and I can't remember, there was some other just huge movie that had come out that year. I was like, that's awesome. That's beautiful. Ghost Town, I'm so glad that Alan, I love you. You mentioned Ghost Town.
We love Alan. Alan's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. But Ghost Town, God.
I don't know anything about Ghost
I'm going to
Town.
have to show you some Ghost Town at some point. Okay, pretty much it's one of the most, it's a full-on anime drama, and in the most modern sense of it. It's like there is no, they do have this kind of supernatural aspect. Actually, it's a perfect Halloween anime. But it is just, it's this dark little story about these three kids who come together under very, each of them has their own different past, but in some strange way those pasts are kind of tied together.
Okay. I love those kind of stories.
And just happen to come together somewhat unwillingly, and through their adventures together into into this spiritual adventure, quite literally, because it focuses on out of body experiences. It's this journey that these boys take, not only through their own spirits, their own psyches, but through each other's. And it's dark, and it is drama heavy, and it is tough. It is tough to watch at some point.
I want to see it.
Yeah, it's out now. And there's a few other shows that Sentai put out, a lot of which I wasn't. Well, I guess Canon would be, or Kanan would be the best, would be one that did happen after the ADB folding that Sentai did continue, and I was part of that. Most recently, actually, came out the same day as Line Barrels. It came out the 5th. This month was probably I would say is the best sword and sorcery fantasy anime that I have ever seen since Slayers. And it's nowhere, it doesn't have the kookiness that Slayers has, but it is definitely a little bit more of a drama and action oriented, but it does have that comedic aspect to it that just makes it's the perfect show, where it perfectly just encompasses everything that is good about a show, about anime, and just does. And I was actually, I think I talked to you about it because it very much borrows from mythology, like the mythology that you like to read. It's called Tears to Tiara.
Yes,
and it takes place.
I heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it just came out. Chris Harris plays the lead, and Hannah Alcorn and Tiffany Grant and Lucy Christian, and I play this human bard named Taliesin, and we did a lot of dialect work. It was really funny because I had gone from doing Black Butler, playing my character in Butler, to playing Lithuania, to then playing Taliesin. And it was all accent work. And I did all three of those shows within 2 weeks of each other.
Nice.
So it was pretty incredible.
That's awesome.
It was like, I'm on a dialect tour. But what was so different was because Taliesin very much, I was so happy that I did my character in Butler before I did Taliesin, because it's literally the same dialect. Just one is very real and the other is very good. Whereas my character in Black Butler has that accent, has the how dare you vagrants enter this castle without permission. Taliesin is very, I would love to grace you with a song. and
one is regal and the other
one is regal, the other is
one is obliging.
But then Taliesin turns later on, where it really gets down to his whole thing of his character. The transformation he goes through because of the stuff that he has to deal with from his past is great. One of the best just little characters that comes in every once in a while that I've played in a long time, as far as supporting characters go. But it's again, very dialect heavy show, and it very much takes from that kind of mythology of Arthur and Merlin and some other stuff, and then just throw it together. Matt Greenfield directed, and the dialect work that he had people do, anything that Matt touches usually is gold.
Oh,
and
sure.
Well, you should get that checked.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
It's like
no.
I know, and I know that I'm babbling right now. It's just that there's
it's great.
There's so much about it that can be said. Yeah, I know, right?
No,
But I don't want to give away really any key moments because really from moment one, there is stuff that if you even mention, you're almost ruining stuff later.
Oh yeah.
So you really just go see it, check it out. Actually, the entirety of it, the entirety of Tears to Tiara.
Say the name again. Tears to Tiara.
Tears to Tiara. The entirety of it, of the dub, is now available on iTunes, both in high definition and standard. I've got the entire collection, and you've also can get it in Blu-ray and just regular DVD. But I know Fry's carries them.
Yeah.
So if you got a Fry's Electronics near you, I can almost guarantee they'll carry it. But
See, that's one of just the things that I love about you is how no matter what the character is, whether he's a villain or a lead or just something that just randomly comes in for you just completely fall in love with them.
I do.
So adorable.
I'm so happy.
Your enthusiasm is infectious. It really is.
Thank you.
I still have a rash. No, it's wonderful to see. There just isn't a bone of cynicism in your body, and which is great. I mean,
it's okay. You're friends with me. You're covered.
Yeah, she's got your back.
Terri Doty.
But it's wonderful, and I think that's why you and I get along as well as we do. Because I love what I do too, and
Absolutely.
I look at you and I'm like, God, I thought I loved what I do.
Yeah.
I look at Grelle over there, Jesus Christ, But it's really. It's just a joy to work with you, and that you can turn it on,
sir.
that you can, especially like going back to Shikabane Hime and just having you do Akasha, like you in between takes, you'd be like,
Yeah.
and then when those beats come in, you're like, da 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 da, and it's just from like here you are from you go from point A to point B in like 0 to 60, or actually from 60 to 0 rather.
Yeah. Well, now with this last character, if anything, he's even zanier once those beeps finish. Just
yeah, that was exhausting.
I know.
But I mean, it was was it good for you?
It's okay.
Come out and smoke a cigarette afterwards.
Shit.
It's like I don't even do this anymore.
God, I feel so dirty. I'm so ashamed.
Nah.
That's the thing now. With that last show, which cannot be named, unfortunately, I have pretty much now encompassed throughout my come January, we've been doing this for 7 years consistently, full time.
Wow.
It's amazing. Because this was my dream job. I never in a million years thought that this would continue. This would be as amazing as it has been. But
and you're so young. Imagine where you're going to be 10 years from now.
I don't know. We'll see.
You're what, 25?
I'll be 25 November 2nd.
You seedling. Podling. Little podling is okay.
But, oh crap.
More questions
coming in. But, what was I saying?
I'm not sure what that was supposed to be.
No, but with that show,
Yeah.
with the addition of that show, I've now pretty much done every single genre, like core genre of an anime show that I grew up with. I've done the martial arts show, the comedy with Kenichi. I've done the giant robot show with Line Barrels. I've done this kooky zany one that's fan servicey and nothing but whatever with this latest show, and then the horror darkness with Shikabane.
Well, here and this is an excellent segue into this question I'd like to ask you now that comes from Sunny Bell.
Okay.
And this is to all of us, but I know your answer is going to be awesome.
Not like ours.
She asks, or I assuming it's a she, it may be a he. I'm terribly sorry if I've just insulted your gender, but this wonderful person asks,
I do love the name, Sunny Bell.
It is a great name.
What's the name?
Sunny Bell.
Sunny Bell. Okay.
Sunny Bell. Sunny Bell.
Sunny Bell.
To everyone, was there a role that you played that made some kind of impact on you? For example, making you think differently about something, appreciate something more, or that made you see something in a new light. She also adds, "Thanks so much. Love the show. Keep up the great work." But that's a good question. That's a good question. I love these kind of questions. So,
Kenichi.
Yeah.
Kenichi. By and far. Kenichi for me. Especially after, because Kenichi was the first show that I really did for Funimation.
That's true.
It was the one that really kind of brought me up here and got me to meet everybody. And
I think about you a lot as Kenichi, just because, but I met you doing Kaze no Stigma.
Yeah. Which I love Kaze. Little Rennie. I love that kid. But, for first and foremost, I'm absolutely 100% and will always be thankful for that role, because I would not have met you guys if it had not been for Kenichi. Mm-hmm. And it had all the amazingly wonderful people who have become such close friends. But at the same time, Kenichi also for me was a very inspirational show, and just something that just made me feel like I could do anything. Because it really is one of those characters and one of those shows that's the message. It's that very Karate Kid type show. Yeah. It's one of the few animes that have to do with martial arts and fighting that I've seen in a long time, other than like Baki the Grappler or something like that, where it's more about the journey that the character goes on, other than the action. It's not something where he just gains ultimate power in the first episode or the first 2 or 3 episodes, and it's about him dealing with that power. It's about him discovering who he is and what it is he really wants to be as a fighter, and the friendships that he makes along the way and how he grows. And it's just one of the most inspirational things that I've ever worked on, and one of the shows that I'm so proud of that show.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I that is one of my favorite things that you've ever done. I don't know that there's anything you've done that I've ever not absolutely fell in love with, but Kenichi in particular, I was like that, just hearing that, because I was in that too as Takeda, of course, and I came on later, and hearing you, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And seriously, like Monica was directing me at the time, and hearing you, I was like, who is this? He's good. I get like that when I hear someone for the first time that I've never heard that really impresses me, and you were one of those people. And after that, I was like, and I'm glad, and I love that. I love your role in that show. It's such an iconic performance, in my opinion, and we're all of us so incredibly glad that show. Talk about the little show that could.
Absolutely.
That show just came out of the ring, or came into the ring and just kicked ass.
Yeah.
No one expected it to sweep as much as it did, but it did, and it's continuing to gather this large fan base.
Yeah, it is an incredibly fun show. It appeals to everyone.
Yeah, and that's what's great about
it.
It's
one of the first
to see a show like that really make it
Kenichi,
big is so gratifying.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of having anything to do with that
Absolutely.
show. Hell, I could have been.
You did such a phenomenal job.
Thank you. But your performance is kind of what brought out mine, so I can tell you that. But you're amazing at that. I'm glad to hear you say that.
We're getting too sweet.
And speaking of,
sorry, but having said that, you're a fucking horrible person.
Yeah,
I really would.
Thank God you're a good voice actor, because you're a horrible person.
You're a great voice actor. Oh, I love you, but Jesus, in reality, you're just an insufferable prick. Not really. It's great. No, I will say you're one of the prime examples in this business of someone who is not only incredibly talented but also really humble and very nice.
Well,
don't ever change, because I'll kick your ass.
Don't ever change. See you next summer.
I would expect you to.
Have a great summer.
I would expect you to kick my ass if I started to change. But yeah, going seriously, it was just one of those amazing show that I was just proud to be a part of, and then to find out that I haven't gone to a con in the last year where a dealer hasn't had Kenichi and was completely sold out of every copy they had by the end of the weekend, or at least sometimes by the first day. And I was told by one of the brand managers that, actually he was the brand manager that was at A-Fest. His name escapes me at the moment. I apologize for that.
I don't remember. I didn't.
Came up to me and told me, "Hey,
might have been Curtis.
Just thought you'd like to know Kenichi, and this was a couple months ago. He says Kenichi, as of today, has surpassed unit sales for Dragon Ball." And I was like, "What?
Holy shit! Holy cheats!"
Yeah, pretty much just kind of went.
That's
cool.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible, dude.
Holy shit. Wow, I didn't know that. Yay. Oh my god. Damn.
Yeah, that was a couple months ago. That was before Kai. And Kai is... God, Kai. Dude.
What?
Because we can talk about it. Your writing on Kai.
Not just mine. Joel's and Bergmeyer. Bergmeyer, of course, was. He started with that show years ago.
Oh, seriously.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's like his baby.
10, but yeah, Bergmeyer and Joel do. I mean,
Yeah.
we all have. It's a blast to
It
write
is
a
a
show like
blast.
that, and I particularly enjoy writing.
I
it
can
because,
tell y'all had fun writing it.
I love my favorite character to write for is Frieza.
Dude,
Well,
you
yeah.
oh my god!
And then Chris Ayers.
Ayres
It was
rocks
really
that
funny. I don't
role.
know that I've talked about this story on the air before, but I've said it at panels and stuff. But when you're writing, and you know this because you both know you've all written stuff before, and but if you're writing a show that is yet to be cast. And in the case of certain characters with Kai, I knew that they would be recast, or that, because I know Sabat played like everybody in that show at the beginning, and he was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play some of my iconic characters and give the rest over to some, the new guys or the people, since we have a larger talent pool to draw from than they did 14 years ago.
Yeah. God.
And so I was at the time writing, and I really... we done a lot of research. John had made certain that to give us all copies of the complete set of the manga, so we read it backwards and forwards. That's a great. That's a great. Well, I read it backwards first and realized, oh shit, and then I read it forward. But
This makes much more sense.
but it was really fun, and I liked it, and I never watched much of the old show when it first aired because I was just at the time in my life when I'd kind of anime had taken a back seat as far as my interests were concerned. But I was always aware of it as this sort of pop culture force, and hell, you'd have to live on Mars with your fingers in your ears and your eyes closed not to know what the hell Dragon Ball was.
Which is difficult.
Which is very difficult because there's no oxygen out there.
I know, right?
But so getting to write the show was really fun. I came into it very fresh, and knowing that just having an idea of as a writer, you typically will have a particular voice actor in mind for a role. Whether or not that you actually ever think they'll get it is one thing, but you think, this is... And so while I was writing Frieza, I just kept hearing Chris Ayres in my head.
Yeah.
And I would write it, and I was like, oh my god, he would be great. I don't know that he'll get it. I mean, and I'm not going to say anything because I'm a writer. It's not my place. But when he actually got cast, I was like, "You're shitting me!" Ah! Yeah. I did a cartwheel, and I really
Landed
did.
in the bookshelf.
and there was this moment because I got to play Zarbon in this version, which Sabat was kind enough
Yay,
to give over to me. And while I had been writing Zarbon, I did not think I would be playing him. So I was like, oh fuck, I hope this works. And but I get very self-conscious about that. But when I came in, they had my first session recording on Zarbon. They had already laid down a significant amount of track with Frieza. And there's the speech he gives when he's facing off with... we later learn his name is Elder Muri. I may be pronouncing it incorrectly because I'm terrible with Japanese words, by the way.
You're in the wrong business.
I know. But we'll just call him Bob.
Why are you whispering?
I don't know. And he's got the two kids with him. One of which is Dende. And Frieza's just and for the first time, Frieza gives this long monologue to someone other than his right hand than his underlings.
Yeah.
About what he's all up with, and he talks about yes, the Dragon Balls, because he's being really condescending.
Yeah.
And it was because it was really challenging monologue to write because it was all this information that Frieza had learned that we are just now learning he knows.
Yeah.
Is packed into this moment. And I thought, oh my god, and I thought, wouldn't this be hilarious if he's just speaking disdainfully, like, yes, I've heard this all before, yes, I know about this, and I'm like, oh my god, this would be great but Chris could do this, Chris knows how to do this. And it was really funny because the day it was recorded, Chris called me, because, Chris Ayres and I are great friends.
Yes.
I love the man. He's very...
How can you not be friends with that man?
Exactly. That's
Seriously.
like not liking ice cream or puppies.
Like
I think we mentioned on
same here.
Seriously, he's like my big brother.
He's
man's
amazing.
beautiful.
Just seeing him makes me happy. I don't.
Yeah,
not a mean bone in his body,
and just enormously talented. He and his brother both. But he called me, and it was really funny. He called me, and I still have the voicemail saved on my computer. He called me in Frieza voice and left me a voicemail message. Okay, and
I was there when he called you.
Well, hello, Michael Tatum. And I'm like, and he just told me he's like, oh god, I love these scripts. It's like they were written for me. And I was like, oh, they're gonna work. And as it turns out. And the next day or a few days afterwards, I went in to record on Zarbon, and they let me hear a lot more of him recorded, and including that really great, his first real big villain monologue, which was such a challenge to write. And he sounded so good, and it was so gratifying when both Chris Sabat and Raleigh, the engineer, turned to me and go, Frieza's like scary now. Like, he's really very scary. And Raleigh played for me the monologue, and he's like, I couldn't sleep last night because of this. And it's so gratifying. And Chris is just balls out amazing. Yeah. It's one of the best villain performances I have ever seen, and I'm just amazing. So proud that
absolutely
he loves
when we had dinner with him, he could not stop talking about it.
It's really so much. I mean,
he's so excited about it.
Good,
but
he's so he'll go on and on about it's the script. I'm like, no. I mean, thank you, I understand that, but a script is only as good, or it can come off only as good as the actors performing it in when it comes right down to it. And he just is perfect. He understands every nuance. He takes every risk. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It works, and it's one of the best. It's one of my all-time favorite dub performances ever. And of course, I'm biased. You bet your ass I'm biased. But there it is.
It's actually pretty funny because when he first came up, he's stayed with me every time he's come up from Houston to record. And when he first came up to start on it, I was still living over in Fort Worth, so it was a good almost hour drive to Okratron. So I would just, to avoid wasting gas and having to deal with traffic both ways, I just kind of chilled at Okratron for the first few times that he was up recording, and I'm just there and had my headphones. I would listen to some Brooklyn tapes or do some doodling and writing and stuff. So I was just kind of chilling. And there was one moment in particular I will never forget. I took my headphones off at one point because I was going to get some more water. And as I take my headphones off, all I suddenly hear coming from the room, because I was just so quiet, they'd left the door open. So I could completely hear what was being blared through their kick-ass speakers at Okratron. And all of a sudden I just hear in Frieza's voice, "Aerodynamic, give me one now!" And just this temper tantrum he's throwing, I literally stood up and was just like, "Yes, Lord Frieza, getting an amic. I'm going right now. And I will find you an amic if it's the last thing I do." It scared me. It literally, I'm just like, "Oh, shit!" And I laughed about it. I mean, one of my favorite moments, and when I can't wait to get it on the DVD, but it's just
I love that. It's that working on that show, and I should hasten to add. I mean, not all my love to Chris, but everyone on that show sounds amazing. It's the people that are reprising their roles from.
I'm glad it's back on the telly.
Past.
Me too.
And it's a fun show. It's one of the cornerstones of it's one of the reasons. It's one of those shows that helped make anime so popular here in the States.
It's the Gatchaman of its time.
Yes, it is.
It's the Gatchaman of its time.
And getting to work on it, this incarnation of it is such an honor and a privilege, and it's I wish it would never end.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to end, but let's take a break.
Good idea.
Okay, break time.
We'll take a
so we can
break.
get back to actually answering questions.
All right, we'll be back.
All right. I'll get you next time, Gadget.
Awesome way to come back from.
What happened to you in the bathroom?
I don't know.
All
right. So we got a lot of good questions. There are a ton of people
we keep getting more,
today.
and I love that you guys are getting so involved, and I love seeing new names, and I love seeing the old names. It's just so great. Okay, I'm going to actually combine Jackie's question and Steve Yurko's question. Jackie wants us to do English accents, me and Josh, because we all know Tatum can do one. And then I'm going to ask Steve's question, and I'll apologize if it sounds a bit muddled, but I usually read Frankenstein for months before really trying to talk a lot, but okay. For all from Steve Yurko. You're at the dead end of a grimy and deserted alleyway. Surrounding you are 10 ninjas, 2 crocodiles, and 1 jaguar. What martial arts technique or other means of fighting, no guns, would you use to eliminate these obstacles?
Well then, you see, what I would do is I would use the training that I got at Ryozan Paku
Very good.
and use a combination of both karate, possibly some Muay Thai, and just combine all of them together and to use the technique that Kenichi uses.
It's really hard for you to say in voice also.
It is. It's just funny because you're laughing at me. It's like, I would destroy them all.
Turn into Batman.
I would destroy them all using nothing more than my comb and a magazine article.
Yeah. Are you Batman MacGyver?
You swear to me. Find me a paperclip. It's Batman MacGyver. No, it's
Oh.
I don't know. I would probably just tell them to go. It's hard to be threatening when you're British.
Yes.
It's hard to threaten violence because it's sort of like, do now,
you don't-
stop it there. Hello, stop it, or I shall, stop this now, or I shall serve tea.
If you chaps don't back off, I'm going to have to get rather nasty.
Don't make me call the Queen Mother and make her invade you.
Well,
That's how you
personally,
do it.
Don't make me call Scotland Yard.
Don't make me call Lestrade.
personally for me, why?
Oh dear. Oh
Bother.
my. Well, I can't. I don't know.
Oh,
Chances
Who
are,
gave
if
you
I were
vagrants
British,
permission
I
to
would not
attack
do-
me?
I would use. I think I would use the crocodile on the ninjas, or if they, I would. What I would do.
What about the jaguar?
The jaguar. Well, then the jaguar, you see, would be going after whatever made the most movement. So if I stayed in one place and just swung in a circle with the crocodile by the tail, the jaguar would probably go after one of the ninjas that ricocheted off. So I'm okay there, and if the jaguar came back, I would just make a friend out of it.
Personally, for me, my mother always told me the best weapon is wit. So I would just do that. Be witty.
I'd be like, oh no, okay, listen, I know all of you are very angry, and you seem really sort of hell-bent
No,
on ending my life.
that's what I do. No, wait. Hear me out. Jaguar, especially you. Hear me out. Come on. Done.
It's just nasty.
My
It's
response would be, I would be like, listen, I know you're all dead set on killing me, but hear me out. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Exactly.
Anyway.
I know what I would do. I just suddenly shout, "These situations make me feel like looting!" And I pull out a lute and start playing.
In all honesty, let me see. 10 ninjas, two crocodiles, and
two ninjas,
jaguar.
crocodile, 10 ninjas, 2 guys, 1 jaguar. Jaguar, but jaguar here.
well,
10 ninjas,
10 ninjas.
a jaguar, and an alligator.
2
alligators.
crocodiles.
Crocodile. Oh, shit.
Bigger than alligators.
Yeah, we're gonna
Crocodiles
do
are man-eaters. Crocodiles are just, bite your toes.
well, they don't bite; they just chomp. They swallow in chunks. They don't chew.
I would call the ninjas out on their horrendous
Don't ask me how I
cosplay.
know.
That's why they said. That's why they don't go on Match.com.
I would make the ninjas self-conscious by calling them out on their horrendous cosplays.
You're gonna Bravo TV them?
I would point in the distance. And go, is that a pirate ship? And then they would be
There you
distracted.
go. Yeah, but
The
that,
ninja's natural enemy.
yeah, but
course.
but that still leaves you with 2 crocodiles and a jaguar.
Well, come on. If a crocodile, if like 2
I
crocodiles,
Also, no, with the crocodiles you say, "Hey, good, Captain Hook." And
there you go. Look, Captain.
I
Hook.
offer the crocodiles and the jaguar voice acting work. So there, and the ninjas.
And therefore, you get the banana gator from One Piece.
Those are
Banana
still
me.
alligators. But in all seriousness, with no guns, I don't know. If we're really gonna do the scenario, magic, since we can just do this, magic and just no more anything.
I will be.
Suddenly, just go Neo on them and just be like, "No," and and explode them with.
You sounded too serious. You go no.
Yeah. No, ninjas, you can't do this.
I would use the ancient and tried and true occult practice that I was actually brought up with in my family, because it's something they kind of pass down from generation to generation and years of study. It's the age-old art of running the fuck away.
Yeah! I was told that, but you're cornered in an alley.
How could I be cornered in an alley? I got there somewhere.
Yeah,
the way that it's now blocked from the ninjas.
Why would I go down a dead-end street unless there was something?
Well, you can't argue the scenario.
I would never. Okay, well, I would never. First, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Because I would never be there. I would never go down an alley.
You were like the annoying kid that when you were playing with like dolls, you're like, no, stop hitting my action figure. My action figure wouldn't respond to that hit. And you're like, oh my god, you're the most annoying
I got you. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did.
Ah.
No, I didn't. I really don't know what I would do. I would use magic. I would use
my magical wit.
I would make them all laugh themselves to death.
Wit.
My magical wit. Mm.
Ask me what the secret.
What do you guys want?
ask me what the secret of comedy is.
What is the secret?
Timing.
Yes.
See, that would get them.
I have another one. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Doctor.
Oh.
No, finish. Finish.
Doctor Who?
No, just the doctor.
All right, on to more questions.
Thank you for those questions, Steve Yurko, Jackie Caraway.
Those are awesome indeed.
I hope my accent didn't put anyone off.
I hope that I kept it long enough. It tends to go very...
Maybe I should spike his little kid next. No, we're not doing that.
Let's see. There's some good questions. Our good friend Rick Cole.
Hello, darling.
From the Isles.
I'm sure we're annoying the shit out of him right now, yeah.
Well, not right now. Right now he's probably asleep.
Okay. As he's listening to
there's a 12-hour difference. But, yes. He says, okay, this is more like a request, but could we talk about the ADR scripting process? He's never really heard much about it. And I think that's a good question. That's something that doesn't get addressed.
You go ahead.
A little bit. Oh, shall I go? Because
Yeah.
we've all done writing.
We're all writers.
Yeah.
Magicano.
Magicano, yeah.
Yeah.
So he wants to know about the process.
In a nutshell, I'll describe the process, and then you guys chime in whenever you want about just the feeling. Because I mean, we could talk about the importance of a good script.
Yeah, you go into writing, you could talk about it all damn day.
Yeah.
Seriously, because there is so much that goes into it. Really, when you really get down to
give the nuts and bolts of it.
Nuts and bolts of it is there is a team of translators who work very diligently and who are hired for not only their mastery of the Japanese language, but also their understanding and their expertise in pop culture, Japanese references, and cultural issues. And so you, as a adaptive writer, you get this. This translated script that it has filled with copious notes about references, puns that don't carry over into the English language from Japanese, all things like that. And your job is to, then try to write these lines in a way that is not only makes them sound organic in English to say, because there are a lot of, almost nothing translates directly. A literal translation of the Japanese almost never sounds good on its own, unless it's adorned somewhat. And
if it does, it's not necessarily that it doesn't sound good. It's just it's not fluid.
Yeah. And that has nothing to do with the Japanese language. It just has to do with the language barrier. Japanese and English
when you go from Japanese
vastly
to English
different
direct
in how they work.
The
syntax, the grammar, everything changes, and so a literal translation, which is what's required in order for us to do the adaptation, very rarely works as a dramatic piece of dialogue.
Absolutely. It just sounds wooden. Yeah,
it sounds wooden, or it sounds too obvious, it sounds too literal, and people don't talk like that in any language.
No.
They just don't. So the adaptive scriptwriter's job then is to look at every piece of dialogue and make it work and give it a voice and try to make it subtle as possible, so it doesn't sound like an adaptive script, so it sounds like it was originally written in English. That's the best tribute we can give to the Japanese is to make it sound as natural as possible, because of course it sounds wonderfully natural in Japanese, and we don't want to make it sound stilted in English. That'd be the worst possible thing we could do.
It's like Chris Hare says. Our job is to be caretakers.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Our job is to be caretakers. And really what it is yes, we are doing an adaptation. We're supposed to give the show the same treatment, if not better, than its original creators did, and so that it can be released with the original intent in mind, but so it can be entertaining to an English-speaking audience. And that's the same for any dubbing in any country.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. And I think, and you do run, there are a lot of ambiguities. I mean, a lot of characters, for example, have catchphrases that have been sort of translated. Sometimes in Japanese, we encounter this with Black Butler, in fact, that the character has a catchphrase that he actually says in English in the Japanese, but he says it with a very, very thick Japanese accent, of course. Yeah. And it comes out with a different number of flaps. Flaps are what we call the animated mouth movements, which you have to match as an adaptive writer to make sure it fits. And so you have to change certain things like that. Even things that are said in English in the Japanese anime from time to time. Oftentimes puns on words, play on rhyming schemes, that sort of thing, do not translate at all because, hey, the word for radish and the word for orange may rhyme in Japanese, but they don't here. Yeah. So you have to change some things up to keep true to the spirit, which was, so another thing, that's something that Ayers also has said, and other people that have worked with scripts, Bergmeyer's a big fan of this too. He's like, if you have a line that's supposed to be funny, that is a punchline or a pun, that simply the pun does not work in English because it's either an obscure reference or the words just simply will not form a pun in English that has the same reference as its pun, then you want to keep true to the spirit of what's the audience supposed to be doing here. Well, then, rather than stay true to it and abandon the comedy and just stay true to a literal translation, we want them to laugh, right? Because that's what they did in the Japanese. They should laugh at this line, so we'll take liberties with it in order to make sure that it's funny. And then you have purists that hate the idea of that, but most people are very sensitive to the idea of a dub getting the chance of, it's not in competition with the Japanese.
No, by no means. They are two separate entities.
It is like, and every actor and every director worth their salt feels the same way about this, I think. Yeah. That when you have a dub, it's our job as caretakers to put our own spin on it, because we're doing it in a different language, and for that reason we can bring out subtext in a way, we can bring out different angles of it. I mean, we're basically doing a different version that's merely supposed to, and I've said this millions of times, and I think it's a testament to how wonderful and strong the original material is, that it can transcend language altogether, and that can support a wide variety of interpretations, from language to language, from dub to dub. And so I love that. As a dub writer, you have to be really good at writing character, because you don't get to write plot. All that's taken care of.
You have to be an actor to be a writer.
Yes, it certainly helps.
Yes, it certainly does help. Yeah, but
yeah, that's that's the thing.
It's very well put the way you're saying it. So I have, I will say that, of course, we always get a bit of the scrutiny, which is, you steered away from what was originally there. And it's like, yes, but what you don't understand is, though you may be a fan of the Japanese version of it, someone who perhaps hasn't watched that and is going into this with fresh eyes will not get that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to understand.
Yeah, and going back into that, it's like there is a perfect example as pretty much any show that Shinichi Watanabe, Namashine, has ever made, which are all absolute brilliant masterpieces. The man himself is a genius.
Yes.
But when we were working on Wallflower, we were in constant, we could send off an email, and within 5 minutes he would be writing back to us because if we had a question about something, if something didn't work. And Namashine himself has said on panels and face-to-face to people that he thinks that the English dubs are not only incredibly important, but in many cases have often been better than some of the stuff that he's done with either Japanese seiyus or just as the tone of the show overall. Like when he saw Narima Daikon Brothers live in Houston, I know you just saw that.
I just watched that a few weeks ago, and it is so goddamn good.
Yeah, it's such a great show.
I haven't watched it.
Because because of how the pathos turns out.
Yes.
Oh, the pathos at the end is so. But Namashine said that even though he couldn't understand what was being said, because we were watching the dub production when we premiered this at the Emerald Draft House in Houston a few years ago, he said even though he couldn't understand what was being said, the audience was not only laughing, but screaming laughing and singing along and clapping their hands and just into it. And he said he knew right then and there that the show had been given to the right people. And also when asked about people, like some fan, somebody who was kind of a dub hater, I guess, at a convention had, tried to, on a panel, incite something, I guess, where he just been like, oh, so what do you think about the voice actors who play Nabasheen and who plays your character? And then just kind of made a passing comment about the dubbing process in itself. And Nabasheen said, well, I think it's great. I made the show to be watched, not read.
See, and that's I feel very strongly about it.
Yeah, I made the show for you to watch it and to laugh. I didn't mean for you to be reading a book. But...
Well, not to say if you're a fan, particularly,
if you like,
subs.
here's the deal. Subs themselves, I used to, when I was growing up, I would watch just about every show that I got, when they started releasing DVDs especially. When you had the choice of just a VHS sub or dub, I would go with the dub because I want to watch it, I don't want to read it.
Sure.
But whenever DVDs came out, I was watching everything, subbed and dubbed.
Absolutely.
Both ways through, because that was just it was an amazing thing to have both on hand for, in the same thing. The onset of DVDs for anime was an amazing step forward.
Oh, of course.
Second of all, it was great just to listen to another language and to hear the performances.
Of course. And it's the same spirit is why, the reason I will watch the Japanese and the dub of a show that I'm very fond of is because I feel like I'm getting to watch the same show twice, but it's a little different both times. And it's the same reason it's the same reason I don't just have one freaking copy of Hamlet, on my shelf. I've got David Tennant's version, I've got Laurence Olivier's versions, and they're all wonderful, and they're all extremely different. And
it's that joyous feeling of being able to watch something, like if you've watched it subtitled first in anime, and seeing that and knowing it intimately, what's like a certain line or a certain scene is supposed to portray, and then when you see the dub and their take on it, to be able to go, oh, that's good.
I never thought about that.
I never thought of it that way. Yeah, to be able to
exactly.
see the differences, to see see the same scene, but with a completely different idea and spirit behind it sometimes. It's amazing. And then
it is as a fan, it is extremely gratifying to see that something you love is capable of sounding solid and belonging in any language. If done, with an ear towards just being respectful towards the real material, which is not to say the superficial, maybe puns or things that are difficult to translate, but the spirit of what really animates, no pun intended, the characters and the story.
Absolutely, and going back to that, and to that exact thing of staying true to the intent of a pun or a joke or anything, staying true to the intent. So I kind of got on a tangent.
It was a lovely tangent. I love your tangents.
We were in constant contact with that machine. There was a pun in an episode where Greg Ayres' character Yuki is eating a popsicle very animatedly, and is in the Japanese singing a jingle for a Japanese kind of fudgesicle, like for the commercial for a fudgesicle.
Okay.
And maybe in America, out of an English-speaking audience, maybe out of 100 people, maybe 5 or 6 people would get that reference, that intimately know Japanese culture and TV commercials and products, stuff like that. And we're like, we could stay true to the translation and have him singing this jingle or humming, the equivalent of that jingle that 5 people would get, or we could do our job as caretakers and do what Namashi would want us to do, which is to make as many people laugh as possible and put in something that 90 people would get, or the entirety of the 100 people would get. So instead of the Japanese jingle, Greg Ayres is sitting there eating his popsicle, singing, "What would you do for a popsicle?" And when we showed that episode, it got a great laugh. It got a great reaction. Most everybody in the room that heard it over all the other crap that was going on in that scene thought it was hilarious. And so right there is an example of staying true to the intent.
And as writers, getting back to Rick's question, as writers, we're kind of the first, I guess, line of defense, so to speak.
The first,
because we our job, and I know all of us writers up there feel like this, but I know I do, and I'm given a show. I want to make it as good as I possibly can, and that means doing your research, doing your homework, and trying to stay as true to. And when you run into problems, and there are people out there that dislike what you do or disapprove of the dub, and they're welcome to their opinions, of
Absolutely.
course. But a lot of times, I feel that they arise out of a simple misunderstanding. Like they feel that maybe they don't. Maybe as a writer, I see, or as an actor, I see a subtext in this particular moment of this anime that may not be obvious to someone who hasn't had a similar experience or whatever. Right. I can think of several characters that's the case. With me as an actor, I'm like, oh, this is what's actually going on. And it may not be obvious to anyone who wouldn't think about that, but to me, like, yeah, that's definitely what that character is thinking. Mm-hmm. So I may tease out that thought a little more, just because I think it's interesting dramatically, and that's clearly what the Japanese were going for, even though it's very subtle and very difficult to catch. People don't see that, and they think we've taken a liberty. And it's, no, we've not taken a liberty. We've just read a little deeper into something and what was already there. And bringing that out is our responsibility if we have the opportunity, because it makes it a good show.
Yeah, I think actually one of the best, you were talking about this last week. Yeah, I think the best example of that is when you were talking about your take on your character in Oran.
Oh, Kyoya, absolutely. That was a character, and I did get to write a little bit of him, but not much. Most of that was Monica, and the scripts were, of course, wonderful, because Monica's a great writer. But it was clear to me, and I sort of came out in stages about this with the character, because this is a character that a lot of people cherish, and he's a fangirl favorite with good reason. He's sexy, he's smart, he's kind of, and I'm not speaking of my performance here, that sounds terribly self-aggrandizing. I just mean the character as drawn and as performed in Japanese is great character, and I was inspired by this character when I watched the show. Before I ever thought I'd have a chance at even auditioning, I encountered Kyoya and thought, I love this. I get this character. I understand him. And the subtext for me, and people are free to disagree, but I mean, it is clear to me that Kyoya is struggling with a deep, deep, deep crush on Tamaki, and knows that it will be love unrequited forever. I mean, he's smart enough to know that, I'm never going to make a play for this guy because we're friends, but. And then ultimately he warms up to Haruhi, because he sees Haruhi as, well, you're what's going to make him the most happy, and because I love him, I have to abstract my own love and say, well, it's better that he be happy, even if I can't be happy. And I mean, to me, that is clearly what motivates that character, or at least one of the major things that does. And it made that performance much richer for me to do. And to people that, and every now and again, I would encounter people at cons afterwards who were sensitive to that, who said, I'd watched the Japanese and I'd never thought about that, but then your performance, there were just certain instances, and I'm like, wow, that's really, I didn't think about that, but it makes sense to me now. And I always used to tell them, like, no, it was always there. It was in the Japanese, but perhaps because of the language barrier, it wasn't as obvious. But, when you've got a great team of translators telling you, well, this is actually what they're saying in Japanese, and you're like, oh, that's a wonderful moment for subtext there,
Yeah, absolutely.
And even if I am wrong about, maybe if I'm reading too much into him, which I don't think I am, incidentally, but if I am wrong, and occasionally you do get things wrong, but it can still be great drama, because it's a testament to how interesting that character is. Again, that a number of different interpretations works for that character. So Kyoya can be, what I tried to make him be, which was, in love with Tamaki and struggling with his own feelings of unrequited love, and versus maybe someone else's take on that character might have been just him for being just a general smooth operator who, whatever. And either would have worked, and that creation is so wonderful and so holistic that and so complicated that anybody can read almost anything into it and it's correct, just like human life, just like real life, and that's what makes good drama. And so that is why, as people working in the dub industry, I love the fact, as a writer, I'm very lazy. I hate plotting. As a writer, I hate writing plot. I don't hate it. It's just my least favorite part of the process when I write other things. And so when the plot is already taken care of for me, and I get to focus on characters and subtext and wordplay, that is my favorite thing to do. And so I've really feel like I found my niche in this industry of getting to take this material that what someone else has already done, the legwork and the scaffolding, as you were, as if you will, and I'm getting to flesh it out with character, which is a great honor to do. And I love
Absolutely.
it. So that was a very long answer to Rick Cole's very awesome question, and I'm sorry to take up so much time, but it doesn't get asked very often, and I love to address it.
No. It was well said. Well said.
Thank you.
Let me see.
more questions.
FF Purity-san, who I believe I know who that is.
I know who that is.
It's not even a request. This is a demand.
Okay.
And I think you will know how much I enjoy asking this because we're both geeks for this show.
Yes.
Get him to say it's morphin' time. My friends from Northeast USA have been trying to do that since he was at ZenkaiCon. Is that how you say it?
Wow.
In 2008. LOL.
Wow. Did they request a specific character voice? Or?
No. But you and me are big Power Rangers geeks.
Yeah. The original couple of seasons.
Yeah.
That ended with, I think it was...
Forgot all,
Yeah.
commercial.
Forgot all commercial. I like the true ending of the show.
I don't think I've mentioned that on the show, but yeah, I am a huge Power Rangers star.
Oh, yes. I think the original series for me, I think actually ended it with, I can't remember if it was
Season 5.
In space. Wasn't that in space or was it in time?
Well, it's when Zordon died.
Yeah, that's when Zordon, it was one of those. Yeah, it was
Ruin it for me when I was
Sorry.
Okay. Anyway.
And then
I'm kidding,
Zeo
I've seen the
and
show.
everything happened. No, I think it was actually after Zeo. But anyways, continue.
All right, so...
Morphin' time.
here
Come
we
on,
go.
do it. Drum roll.
It's morphin' time!
At least you didn't do like the...
Yeah. Tyrannosaurus! No, my favorite, Billy was my favorite of the original cast.
Really? And then...
I love the Blue Ranger. Green Ranger, no, until Green Ranger came in because it was like, he's got a dragon and his dagger's a flute and he like plays music and summons a dragon and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's green. Green's a cool color.
No, I remember. That's how
think
I
what
met my friend Michael is because like we were talking about like how I used to have like the dagger, and they're like the dagger. I'm like, yeah, you don't remember like it's like, boop, 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 boop. And someone goes, who the fuck just did that? And I'm like, it was me. And he's like, you are awesome. I'm like, yeah, sure.
I have the dagger. The toy. It still works.
Oh my
you press
God.
a button and it works. It plays.
Sorry,
the
my
fucking
nerd is
song.
showing. I should go.
My nerd is saying too.
Another
My nerd is
lovely
always-
segue into this really good question that I'm going to ask now.
A dagger.
The dagger.
Bex, love that name. Since anime can be frowned upon in some places and settings, what do your friends, family, significant others, anyone applicable, think of what you do with your work? It's a good question.
Everybody on my mom's side of the family thinks it's absolutely kick-ass.
You got an awesome
Yay.
mom's side of the family.
Most on the dad's side of the family don't understand it, and for the most part, don't really care. They just kind of occasionally, whenever I see them once a year at Christmas,
What
they're
are
just
you
like,
doing?
"So you still doing that anime thing, the voice work?"
Anime thing.
Yeah, oh, that's cool. So anyway, I was watching this football game, and so anyway, I was doing my taxes, and
I almost went off
I
on
was
a
listening to
tangent.
Alan Jackson. And it's like,
But no, I can tell. Like I've met your brother a couple of times. I can tell how proud
nothing
he
wrong
is
with Alan
of you.
Jackson. I love Alan Jackson. When I grew up, just saying.
No.
But I got out of country music a long time ago because I was shoved down my throat. So,
But no, I was saying your brother is clearly very proud of you. It's very cute.
I love your brother. Your brother
He's
is so
adorable.
cool.
I met him
my
last year at
brother, too.
YuleCon.
Your brother is
Yeah.
so cool. You are cooler by association.
Yeah, I know.
Not that you needed much help to begin with,
Well,
so
thank
that
you.
should tell you again just how awesome and exalted your
He
brother
had
is.
so much fun.
He's great. He's great. You got to bring him around more often. He's a fun.
I'm trying
He's a
to.
good
He's
guy.
just so busy. Because, well,
I understand.
Hey, after this month, that'll be dumbing down, and you know why.
Yep.
It's gonna be awesome.
Awesome. What about you? Your family?
My family, I will
But I will say
say
this: my dad is very proud, as even though the rest of the side is whatever, my dad thinks it's absolutely.
Well, your
fantastic.
dad. I think the reason your dad gets it is because your dad's so creative as well.
he's an artist.
Yeah, well,
So he understands.
my entire immediate family is nothing but art. Is just filled with artistic. I was raised to be an artist, pretty much.
And I think that's the hallmark of a good artist of any stripe is they can see art in anything, or the possibility for art in anything, whether it be a comic book or an anime or a painting or a piece of music. They can see like this has the potential to be an art form if you just use your fucking imagination.
I see.
But my family, they're very supportive about what I do. They don't watch much of it because, frankly, it does confuse them and frighten them a little bit.
Yeah.
But my parents are also in their 50s, and so for them, animation in general has always meant kid shows.
Yeah.
And so if they're more comfortable with the stuff I do, like Frog, which they think is very funny.
Yeah.
Oron,
awesome.
actually, they're very fond of Oron.
Cool.
My mother likes Romeo and Juliet, which just tickles me pink. My father loves Samurai 7. I mean, they have specific shows that they're like, wow, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
But as a genre, they don't always get it. I mean, my dad does, and he's like, oh, that's just cool. It's just not my thing, but good job. You guys sound great, and that's actually good. So there's certain shows he's found himself liking. That's what I always tell people. If you just don't like anime, you're just not looking hard enough,
you're kind of
yeah.
pigeonholing it because, you said genre. When I think anime, I don't necessarily think genre because there are genres. I think of it as a medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Anime is just it's a medium. It's not a genre, and so you can find something you like in anime if you look hard enough.
There's something for everyone.
But some people,
all interests, all ages.
A lot of mainstream Westerners just encounter some of the more extreme insider anime that is harder to get if you haven't been reared on it, I suppose.
And kind of assume that's how it all is.
And they go, and they assume that's how it all is, and they kind of run scared. My mother's true story, I love telling this. My mother, for the longest time, she would have trouble knowing what she was looking at, watching an animated scene done anime or manga style. She'd be like, "I'm not okay. I see. Okay, that's a face. I see a face, but what's that? What's that dark thing like on his neck? I don't understand that." I'd be like, "Well, that's the shadow of his chin," and she'd be like, "Oh," it was just, and her mind was just blown open, and she was like, "Oh, okay, that would explain why it disappears every time he turns. Oh, that's really cool." But it was like at first it was like someone who's never seen a painting before looking at Picasso, going, "What is that supposed to be? Did someone drop something? What did someone spill something? How does someone die here? It was really funny. And my dad, the first anime he watched, because Samurai 7 is so lushly animated. He loved it. And my dad kept pointing out, like, "Oh, do you see how in the distance everything looks faded and everything up close looks in focus? That's so cool. You don't see that in anime." But for them, because of their generation, and for them, animated means it's a kid's show. Yeah. And so it's not that they hate the subject matter or find it odd. I mean, these are subjects or topics that make perfect sense to them in an R-rated adult film.
Right.
I say adult film, like my parents watch porn. They do not watch porn. La 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 la. But I hope they don't. But if they do, la 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 la. I don't know. But I mean, something like Speedgrapher, for example, which is a very adult show, would not shock them as much if it was done in live action format. But seeing this animated is kind of a mindfuck for them because they're like, I'm used to The Simpsons and SpongeBob SquarePants or Looney Tunes, and seeing that's like seeing an episode for them. I imagine it's like seeing an episode of Tom and Jerry where Tom becomes a leather daddy and starts torturing Jerry or something. And I mean, that's a fucked up thing. And so it's really funny how
Bugs Bunny kind of played close to that occasionally.
Hey, he did like to dress up as a girl, but
way too much.
But
he
way
put
too
some
much
thought into that fucking outfit.
He looked good as a girl bunny.
He did.
But that's my but they're wonderfully supportive of what I do, and they love to keep up with it, and they always want to know, because that's the best thing I could hope for, is like for them watching these shows really is a bit of a chore, because it's not something they would choose. Of their own tastes run very different, but they still make an effort to watch as much as they can, and they find something to like in it because I've done it. And so that's the best kind of support I can hope for. It's like it doesn't come easily for them, but they make an effort and they still support me, and I love them for it.
No.
That's awesome.
My family.
Do you ever get the people like within your family, like cousins and stuff, that maybe are a little bit older than you, or sometimes aunts or whatever, that ask about it, and they'll say, "Isn't all that anime stuff just porn?"
Yeah, because that's kind of, I think, okay, first of all, especially with stuff that I just got finished recording, like on shows that I'm in no way affiliated with other than voice acting, it's like, I think I'm creating a niche. For myself. Okay. But, I mean, from the most part, other than my husband, who is my significant other, who works with me, if I were dating, I think it would be harder to date someone, because you would really have to be into it, rather than just say, like, oh, I guess I kind of get it, because that's what I get from a lot of my non-anime related friends.
Yeah.
But, like, my mother, she brags about it all the time, but she never says what I do. She says I voice direct. She doesn't say for anime or anything like that, and I'm like, because you'll never watch it. You'll never watch anything that I do. I mean, the one thing that she was like, oh, no, there's this one, like, I Googled your name, and, like, it was Rin. I'm like, no! Clear everything with me first, but, like, my cousin Haley, who lives in... like West Texas, she's really into anime, so she bugs me a lot about it. I mean, not I say bugs, but other than that, it's like, almost like they assume it's a hobby in a sort. I mean, it's not. I love what I do. I'm very lucky to be doing what I'm doing.
Actually, I had a moment with Ren recently, because my mom takes every opportunity she can sometimes if something comes out to talk to people.
You're really good in Ren, by the way.
Well, thank you. Where she'd called me one day. She was at work and she was talking to one of her colleagues, one of the nurses that works for her, and said, "Hey, one of my coworkers, my friend here. Her daughter really loves anime, and she's looking for some stuff to show her. Tell her that you do it. You do this stuff." I was like, "Yeah, okay." And I'm looking at your list of stuff. The first thing that came up, because she, like, I guess the first thing they pulled up was IMDb. And the first thing was like, would Ren be a good show? No! I said, how old is her daughter? She's like, she's 13. I was like, no! I said, show her the Wallflower.
Look at
something like that. Show her the Wallflower, Kenichi, or...
Well, you heard what happened to the Jean-Luc, right? Jamie's brother? Jamie was like... whatever, because, Jean-Luc and Jamie, they're very close, and right now Jean-Luc's living with Jamie, and Jamie comes home, apparently, I'm probably getting the story wrong, Jamie comes home, and Jean-Luc's like, he watched Frin. And I'm just like, he told me, and I'm like, what's up? Tell your sister I said hello.
Hey, your sister ever ask about me? All right.
Man.
Well, I think we've got time for one more question. This seems perfect, and I'm gonna spring this on the both of you, because I have an idea.
Okay. Oh, crap.
The question, we're going to kind of ignore the question, but the question's going to be my sort of bridge. Acker206 asks who won the arm wrestling match between Terri and Aaron Dismuke back in the day. And of course, we can't answer that question. It's strictly confidential, and we do appreciate that you're interested, but it gave me this wonderful idea.
Okay.
We've had a great time having you back on the show.
This has been amazing.
We're now 9 months old. We're giving birth.
Yes, we are.
We've dilated to 2 or whatever that is. And I think the two of you should have...
You want us to arm wrestle?
No! Even better! I want the two of you to leg wrestle. Right here. Come on! You know what? Okay, look each other in the eye and tell me you don't want to do this. That's what I thought. Come on, do it. Here, I'll move this out of the way. I'll move the table out of the way.
Okay, we're going to be off mic. Is that okay?
Be off mic. That's fine. Okay. I'll commentate like I did with you and Aaron. Come on, just do it. Just do it.
Crap.
All right.
Hold hold on. This is gonna be really odd.
This is like really weird Twister.
Really weird, or just Twister?
No, this is uncomfortable Twister.
This is a version of Twister you would not play with your family.
I don't understand.
No, this is our third date.
This is our date.
Okay, well, okay, wait. Now, before we do this, we have to have. Now, what's your what's your Josh? What's your like wrestling name?
Oh, I don't know.
Come up with something. Do it. Your name. Your name will be. Your name will be.
Enchilada Gomez.
There you go. Enchilada Gomez. Okay, Terry. What's yours?
Luchadora por favor.
Okay, and yours was Enchilada Gomez?
Yeah, or that just happened.
Enchilada Gomez, a.k.a. That Just Happened. Now, for the first time ever, leg wrestling with Luchadora por favor. Ladies and gentlemen, at the count of 3, let's begin. Let's get ready to rumble.
God.
3, 2, 1.
I have half a freaking foot.
There goes. That's right. He's got a natural. Oh, look, there he goes. There he goes. There he goes. Oh. Wait. Luchadora por favor is coming back. She's not going to go down for the count. And, no. And that just happened is taking the lead once again. I can't believe you guys are actually going to be doing this. Come on. No breaks. Keep at it. Come on. And we've got a pin. We've got 1, 2. Oh.
What are you? Is your phone still on?
Sorry. Wait. Excuse me. I gotta take this.